Hey, YouTube. Hey, YouTube. I'm getting situated here. You're trying to figure out what happened at the prelim today for the Tyler Robertson. I'm just trying to see what happened. Shout out to Cuff Boys. He is on it. I was gonna go over there to Baron. I was, I, I was itching to go over there to Baron. It'd be that 3 hour live that I have to catch up to that I just can't. I try to, I want to, but and then when I peeped in just to see like what was going on today, I actually saw that he was live, but I was like, "Oh, I ain't gonna make it." Like I think it was just starting that live, like 10 o'clock or something like that. And I was just like, "Ooh," or maybe it was the playback or something like that. I don't know. Um, but I couldn't catch it. I was like, and so in my mind, I was like, okay, we finna go watch Baron and see what happened. Cause he said something about Andrew had a crash out. Andrew Kovac. I was like, "Ah, my goodness. Uh-oh." Is that a new avatar? No, that's still Tupac. Okay. Got excited for a minute. I'm like, "Is that a new let me see what's going on. What now?" It's it's always something. What is this? Is this a copyright claim? What happened? Oh my God. Please just mute the song. Just mute it. Just mute the music with your commercial breaks. YouTube. Damn. And then who is this? Oh, yep, that short, that YouTube short. You're right. That was me. I be forgetting that those YouTube shorts be having music. Come on, I'm trying to get logged in so I can get started on Cuffboy. We're on 31. Um, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How about yourself, my love? I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you stopping by. All right, what we got going on today? Today is Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. Current time now is 2:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can we get some colors instead of? I just want to see what happened at the prelim. So nosy. I'm inquisitive. I'm inquisitive. I'm not nosy. But I'm fucking forgot that damn thumbnail. Um, I just have to know what happened. What? I just have to know what happened. I am just yearning to know what happened. What the hell? What is this? Oh, I just okay. Get out of YouTube studio. She'll be throwing me off. Okay, my timer is about to get ready to go off in a second. So I can get this. Um, hey YouTube. I can get this iPad on the charger. Yeah. So I heard like let me see what happened. He got 55. He got 55. He was not playing no games with this one here. I say what? And you know what's amazing? I dropped in, stopped in. It had to be like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, and I had saw that the little prelim was going on. And then Candace had dropped like a little community post. she was like, the judge didn't let nothing in with the FBI or the ATF reports. Um, oh, it's so much going on. Let me see what happened. Hold on, let me get this iPad. Oh, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. Alright, let me see what happened. Let me do audio. I need to do audio too. Real quick. Okay. I just have to make sure because the audio was doing some weird stuff the other day. I was like, me?
For the murder of Charlie Kirk has
Yeah.
concluded. All
What
right, this
happened?
preliminary hearing is gonna be lasting all week. I know this is a controversial case.
Yeah.
I know there's conspiracies and
Yeah.
there's evidence of other stuff going
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
but this is what's happening in court and
Yeah.
covering what's happening in court.
Yeah.
I know the comments might be crazy on this video, but this is what we're doing.
It is what it is.
Let's go.
Let's go.
For the record, the court also recognizes the presence of Ms. Erica Kirk. Ms. Kirk, good morning. In addition,
You know what's so crazy? Candy said that. She was like, now watch Erica gonna try to show her ass at the court. Cause they been saying she ain't been to court since. Ah, so sick of her. Miss Erica Kirk is here. Hi.
that your tables have been turned off. Again, in an attempt to try to minimize the possibility of any of the communication being captured.
So it sounds like we won't be able to hear shit. The lawyers' microphones are off.
Come to the lectern, and that microphone
Thank you for that sign.
the best way that we can hear you, and it is captured on the record. All right, second, the court will address the camera operator, and the court knows there is no still photographer for today's proceedings pursuant to the court's ruling from last week.
I gotta say, I've watched probably, I don't know, tons of trials now.
And we never.
Rules, unless it involves.
And next, turning to the amended motion to allow the use of portable electronic devices by the news media and their counsel. The court appreciates the arguments presented in the motion and recognizes the importance of the press in the criminal justice system. Having considered the motions before the court, the request to permit representatives of the news media to use portable electronic devices during the preliminary hearing is respectfully denied.
I've never seen that rule in a case that doesn't involve, the media is not allowed to have personal devices in there.
My table, front table, this is Brian Davis, Agent Davis, and Agent Hull is seated on the bench just on the other side of the bar. He will be present for this hearing as well. Both of these agents will be testifying as part of the hearing.
All right, so this is Tyler's lawyer, Richard Novak.
Whether exhibits will be published. And we did. And we can either deal with this general matter, or we can deal with it on an exhibit by exhibit basis. But I just want to make sure that we didn't lose track of that. Publishing the exhibits in the courtroom may technically be different than that, but whenever the court is ready to deal with that issue, we just want to make sure
Thank you.
before it's too late.
That's always the right time to do it.
So I think what he just asked is publishing the exhibits in front of the camera. I think he doesn't want the camera to see exhibits. I'm gonna be pissed if they hide exhibits from us in this courtroom, bro. I've never seen this. I know it's because they're worried about but like,
I believe it is important that the courts know that the exhibits are being viewed by the judge in real time and in open court. However, what I will do is have the monitor placed against that wall to reduce the possibility of it being broadcast. And so, on the exhibits that the court grants to be published in court, and not going to Mr. Novak's point, not to be given copies to, and the court is trying to be mindful that if it's shown on TV, that's essentially giving a copy to. And so the court is taking Mr. Novak's point in consideration. And so the anticipation is, and I know I'm catching staff a little bit off guard, is placing that television right behind Jeff, our bailiff, to minimize the accidental capture by the camera and allowing it to be displayed. I recognize that that is not the ideal spot for viewing, but I'm also trying to balance the rights and important considerations that defense has made.
every exhibit should be.
Hey, Georgia, Libby.
Be showed to us except graphic one. I know the public wants to see that.
We didn't already see.
It's like Every murder trial I've ever covered, they rarely show bullet wounds on the live stream.
For the course information, we anticipate presenting 4 witnesses. They're all law enforcement witnesses.
Well, let's do this. I want our preliminary hearing to move smoothly and with the least amount of delays as possible. So let's take a brief break to allow the placement of that monitor, a brief test to make sure it's working, and then we can be seamless in moving forward.
Y'all didn't figure this out beforehand, the monitor situation and exhibit situation?
The monitors are, and that's why I wanted to give that instruction early on for each party to monitor their monitor. And because if the camera is doing a wide sweep picture of the course, I can't prevent the accidental capture. Obviously, the decorum order anticipates not focusing in to the point that is focused on your monitors. But I ask all the parties to be mindful, especially as it relates to the sensitive material that may be published or may not. But please just take a look at that.
It is a little sus how careful they're being, dude. I don't think I've ever watched a trial in Utah, so maybe that's just how careful they usually are.
And if you could
Y'all gonna show him lay it out on the table? The corner table? Because I'm like, everything else we've already seen. Everything else we've pretty much already seen. So I'm like, if you're gonna be trying to show him lay it out on the table where we can see these wounds, um, a little too late for all of this extra shit y'all trying to do.
mind as you're presenting your evidence, this is not intended to chill what you present, but keep in mind that the standard is probable cause, and that is what the court as a magistrate will be looking to.
Yeah, so that's all he's trying to find is probable cause.
I did the Utah Post Academy, which is about 600 hours of training for basic things to become a police officer, report writing, arrest control, stuff to that effect.
When you say Post Academy, is Post an acronym?
It is
What does that stand for?
police officer standard training. There at Utah Valley University, we patrol the campus, we walk around, we patrol, we would do investigations if there was crime to that effect. We'd make sure that students or staff, if they needed something, we'd be there for them. So basically, kind of like a school report officer, community oriented. Utah County Sheriff's Office for 13 years. Before that was Springville City Police Department for 6 years, and also with the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office for a year.
While you were at Utah Valley University, did you have access to the video surveillance system on campus?
Yes, I did.
How familiar did you become with the buildings on campus
Very familiar.
and the walkways?
Very familiar.
Are you familiar with the courtyard or the outdoor amphitheater on campus?
I am.
And generally speaking, where is that located on campus?
It's more of a central, it's an outdoor area centered by a bunch of buildings on the around it. It's in the center of the campus pretty much.
The courtyard that they completely destroyed, or
Right.
at least the area where Charlie was shot. I
Right.
don't agree with that at all. That was so dumb. I know there's a lot of theories with this case. I'm not trying to say anything that trigger anyone, but doing something like that makes people think even more about the situation.
You got some cement on top with some bushes and flowers. You've got places where people can sit and eat. They come out, stay and relax on the grass. And there's a waterfall with a little pond that comes down into a stream.
I mean, within a week, they were doing construction there.
You can also, if you're parking there, you can walk out right there, that exit only where I was talking about on that southeast side. You can walk out there, or on the north end of that garage, there are some stairs that go up all the levels and it goes down to the bottom level and across the street through a tunnel to the LBS Institute building. And when you pop up on level 2, you can walk over to the Institute building.
You describe how long of a walk it would take from that parking structure to get to the courtyard on campus, approximately.
A couple of minutes, because when you go to that or southeast exit, you can walk.
Remember, they have footage of Tyler, or they're gonna say it's Tyler,
Allegedly.
going up the staircase. Remember that footage? I'll put it on the screen right now. This footage, the screenshots that apparently, I'm pretty sure his parents saw and recognized their son. Now, this picture circulated a lot online, and as you can see, the shirt is completely the design on the shirt because this is an AI picture. It's altered, enhanced. So it's not the actual shooter. Like I've seen people say, wow, this doesn't even look like Tyler. Like it's because it's AI, bro. Someone put the picture on the right into Chat GPT and said, enhance this picture. And this is what Chat GPT spit out on the left. That's been a common misconception about this footage.
Is this photograph a fair and accurate of this area of UVU campus on September 10th, 2025?
Yes.
Your Honor, we would object to inability to authenticate. There's not been a foundation laid that this officer took this photo, can verify when it was taken, or by whom it was taken, so we would object.
All right, so I guess
Oh.
another Tyler lawyer right here.
Well, as it relates to this, I'll hear argument.
Okay. Judge, first of all, it's very clear, well-established law that the person who took the photograph is not required to be present to lay the foundation for it. What's required for foundation is that the witness has knowledge of what's depicted in the photograph, can testify to its accuracy.
Oh, we're getting a shot of Tyler right here. I just realized he's balding up top.
Don't do that. Like I'm like, don't do that. It's tough in there. I think we can all agree. It is tough. And so, it happens. Don't do that.
Yeah.
An accurate depiction of this on September 10th, 2025.
Thank you. Any further argument, Ms. Nestor?
I mean, this is a waste of time. Why are you objecting to a picture of the campus, bro? Come on. Let's get this going. Holy shit.
And
We did
Back again.
standing objection at the very beginning of the hearing. I would just refer to our standing objection as well. I know this is not a.
Walking
there's no
in the rain.
written testament,
I
but
was
just
running
that-
in the rain.
thank you, Ms. Nestor. All right, having considered the argument, I find I'm going to overrule the objection and admit Exhibit 1.
Of the other red brick pathway area, that is the Woodbury Business Building.
Okay. And if I were to walk north, so left on this photograph,
I would love for us to be able to see the photograph of the campus. Why are we like not showing that to the live stream? Like it's so pointless.
did you receive a specific assignment shortly after coming on to do this?
Yes, yes.
And what was that assignment?
That was to secure the top of the hall flags on the south end. So we had people that were gathering on top of that, or looking down on top of the tent, so we wanted to secure that area, so I was put up on top of the hall flags on the south end.
Your Honor, if we could not have it on the lectern screen, we're getting reports that the documents shown on the lectern screen are being live streamed. So maybe if we could just not show that until it's admitted.
Malik,
I'll submit it to the court judge.
don't do
I
that.
have copies of these for myself.
Why are they hiding something?
I don't know. I'm so irritated now. Right.
Murder trial. I've been watching trials for 4 years.
Well, I'll go ahead and grant the request by Ms. Nestor. We'll go ahead and there should be a power button to turn it off.
This is a hearing, but you know what I'm saying.
See what I mean? Right.
If they do this trial, that'll be crazy. I think they're worried about a jury, but like, bro, since they won't show it, here's pretty much what
Thank
just
you.
pointed out all these
Oh.
centers and shit. So
Okay, the Losi Center.
I think Woodbury Building, Lucy Center, Sorensen Center,
Losi.
and obviously they say Tyler was on top of the Lucy Center.
Losi.
Pronouncing all those right.
It's Losi.
Exhibit number 2.
Your Honor, we renew our standing and we also
Hello, Malik.
review that the foundation hasn't been laid in terms of the time this was taken or who took it. At what point in time this was created in-house. So I don't think he has any personal knowledge of that. We'd object.
I will go ahead and overrule the objection by defense, noting that the witness has made, he's expressed that this is a fair and accurate representation of what it purports to be, and he's familiar with it. He was there on the day.
They're gonna object to every single.
Mm.
Gonna be appreciating to watch.
So you got the white roof, that's gonna be in the middle, just to the top of the building where the Volsi is, I described it, the white roof there, that's the Sorensen building. And it's just below.
Barron. I
How
want to go to Barron so bad.
These monitors, so they're gonna end up complaining about this again.
just to the south of the Volsi building, there's a red pathway, right directly in the middle of the picture. Off to the south of that, on the left side of the picture, is a staircase, stairway.
Is that open to the public?
It is.
And how would someone access the roof from that stairway?
If they came up, they put them right here on this pathway that goes between the Volsi Center and down towards the computer science building. There's a red pathway. There's actually a little handrail, like a little guardrail, probably about a couple feet high.
Is that area restricted? Is it off limits?
Yes, it is. There's kind of like a natural barrier with a guardrail. And from there on, there's no path. It's gravel roof, so it's not paved like everything else.
Someone could hop over that railway.
Yes, Google building's gonna be to the right of the picture. It's gonna be a white roof going up to the right. So
And the Woodbury Business Building.
Woodbury is gonna be another red path. It's gonna be just to the east. The Google building's got a gray roof and some red path. This
The Sorensen Center.
Sorensen Center is gonna be on the left of the picture. It's gonna have a white roof, different levels. Be the Sorensen Center.
Okay. Losi Center, where's that located in relationship with the Sorensen Center that you described?
The Sorensen Center, it's gonna be just directly east of the Sorensen Center, where it's at the top of the picture. You can see two different colors of gray, the gravel that's on the roof.
And can you see the courtyard in this photograph?
Yes, you can.
Is this picture a fair and accurate depiction of this area, Utah Valley University's campus on September 10th, 2025?
Yes.
After we renew the standing objection, we also object again that this individual can't identify when the picture was made or how it was made or by whom.
The court finds that the witness is familiar with the scene, testified that it is a fair and accurate representation of what Stacy Exhibit 3 purports to be?
The hall flag is gonna be down here on the bottom of the picture. It's gonna have a red brick pathway with some flowers along the top of it.
You mentioned that you were securing an area of that,
Yes,
that hall, that walkway. Where were you stationed?
I was down here by the end of the flower pots, which is down here on the south side towards the fuel building on the far.
Okay,
The Hall of Flags he keeps talking about is this little hall here, and it's this hall on camera, the black windows right above like the courtyard area. I guess I'm gonna have to show all these exhibits because they won't.
the Sorensen Center, where is that located on the photograph?
North Center's gonna be middle to far left. The picture, it's gonna have a white roof on top of it.
Okay, and the Losi Center, where is that located?
Mostly Center's gonna be towards the top of the picture.
Where would you have to be standing or perhaps lying down on the Losi Center to see into the courtyard where that tent was?
On the far south side of the Lofi building, you have a line of sight towards the court.
So they're trying to really pinpoint that you'd have to be on the far south side of the Losi building right there to get a sight of that area where Charlie was sitting. This just looks like a Google Earth view of everything, I think.
Your Honor, renew the standing objection and object on the grounds that there's no indication on this photograph of when it was taken in terms of relation to the actual incident at issue.
Given the testimony of the witness who's testified is familiar with this location, he went in detail describing the various neighborhoods.
I might start skipping all these
It
sections,
is.
basic pictures, honestly. That's gonna get fucking annoying.
It is already.
It's Charlie Kirk.
Did you see Mr. Kirk that day?
I did.
When did you first see him?
When he arrived on campus, just behind the west side of Hall of Flags, I saw him pull up.
And can someone access the courtyard through that area?
Yes,
How so?
where he pulled up underneath the Hall of Flags is a opening. You can drive a car underneath. So there's exit right there. You can walk or drive right the Hall of Flags.
And you saw him arrive?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe what did you observe?
On that day, I observed Charlie going back, doing some meet and greets with people, getting some photos taken. He then came underneath the Hall of Flags and he was there answering questions and talking to individuals that were asking questions. I heard an individual talking to Charlie and I happened to kind of glance over the edge of the railing about that time. I could see the right side of Charlie's shoulder, so not his whole body, because he was underneath the tent, so probably the right side of his body. He was answering a question, he was asking a question, and then I heard a shot fired.
Do you know what time that was?
Notice how every collab.
I don't like this already. Y'all acting like this is the trial.
Yes,
What time was that?
12:20.
Camera's panning up.
Right. The ceiling randomly. Oh,
To the left, it's like I could no longer see the right side of his body, so he went further underneath the tent to the north side, and so left.
Okay. Can you describe the reaction of others that were there?
Yeah, so then everybody started getting up and starting to run in more of a chaos kind of situation. While they're looking down, I'd say there's several thousand people because you had it on the grass that was jam packed in the amphitheater sitting on the grass. You had people standing on the back along the cement. You had people that were on the second level of Sorensen and over by the Woodbury building. There's another level there where a lot of people were standing and watching.
You mentioned you heard something. What did you hear again?
I heard a gunshot.
Okay. And can you describe Mr. Kirk's reaction? Was that simultaneous to hearing the gunshot?
Yes, it was.
When he fell to the left?
Yes.
Did you see the reaction from?
did he just
What
say,
was that?
wait a minute? This is gonna irritate me. This is gonna irritate me. Can you describe Mr. Kirk's reaction? What? Did you just ask him to describe Charlie Kirk's reaction? Just
Kind of got up, they all got up. A lot of people were screaming and standing up and starting to run in all different directions away from him. That moment, I recognized it as gunfire. I left my post, which was right down the south end of the Hall of Flags. I proceeded to between right where the funeral and the Hall of Flag meet. There's some outside stairs. I was trying to run down. As I was trying to get down to the bottom of the stairs, people were running up, people were laying down on the steps. I'm trying to jump over people to get to the bottom of the stairs so I can help stop an individual that's probably shooting. By the time I got to the bottom of the stairs, I was informed on the radio that we had a shooting in custody. So I thought at that moment, I was like, oh, that's bad. Obviously, it was close to range probably because we had an individual in custody. Another officer came on, so we had an individual in custody.
Oh, the old white dude.
Since the threat is gone, now I can assess for anybody that's injured and start looking for any medical needs that's needed at that moment. I thought he maybe
can't even think of his name.
he was just had a seizure, that he was fine, he was not injured. So then at that moment, I observed that there was no other injuries that I could see at that moment.
Okay.
Yeah, so after we got some people kind of cleared away a little bit.
I don't know.
with some of my experience and trainings.
Is that
I decided now we need to contain the scene and help preserve. some of
Leon? Leon?
the- for our-
Mm.
Well,
What is that? Leon? Leon.
I- My chief Long, that was right next to me.
I
I
don't,
looked down.
I don't know what you talking about. You just got here. You're supposed to come in and say hello at least.
Like, down to the split second, I realized that the shot I heard was more of a rifle shot and not a pistol shot. Just from being around firearms through all my training, the difference is, handgun is more of a short bang pop sound. With the rifle, you have a more of a longer, violent bang or crackle sound, more violent and a sound that's longer. At that moment, when I saw the holster, the empty holster, I turned to my chief and I said, that was rifle shot. He said, I agree. And I looked up at that moment, right in the line of sight, I could see the Loki building that had a direct line of sight. So I proceeded to go look at that and see what was going on. Courtyard, you can go into the Torrenson Center, and like I said there earlier, there was on level 1, there's some elevators or there's stairs. I ran up 4 flights of stairs. I got the 4th level of the Losi building and proceeded to the south of the Losi building. There's some stairs, which is at a breezeway between the computer science building and the Losi building. There's some stairs that go up pretty top of that. I went up that.
Is that the stairway that you previously described?
Yes, on the outside of the. Okay. When I got on top, I hopped over the guardrail. I noticed that there was an object which was sitting right about 10 or 15 feet
It's a screwdriver, right?
in from the other side of the guardrail and gravel. That looked out at least.
And in relationship to where you hopped over the guardrail, what direction was it?
Relax.
And did you
Right.
recognize the object? And what was it?
It was a red flag screwdriver.
That Milwaukee.
No.
Never mind.
They found the DNA on that screwdriver apparently, and also on the rifle. After it was found in the woods or whatever.
So if you could describe where you saw that screwdriver, point to that.
Yeah, so this is the Loki building right here. It's like grade. Here's the guardrail in the center of the picture with the red brick. Over the that about 10, 15 feet in. Out right there. All right.
Give me a second. I need to go to Barron. You go to Barron. Oh. Oh. Did Biden make it to Vlad yet? Too much going on. Oh, Charlie Kirk's parents came. Oh, I bet they want him next to Erica. Oh, there you go. Look, with that damn gavel.
These
Hold on, let me go to Barron real quick and let me see what happened. Look, look,
Welcome in.
look.
We've had a never-ending crash out today.
Uh-oh. I heard, yeah. Yeah. I ain't seen it.
Idea what's going on with this guy. I have rarely, if ever, seen a PR profession.
Yeah, crashing out as consistent
18 hours or so. It's
Look
been bad.
at Barron with that hair.
Um,
What happened?
They get a little out of control. They get manic drug users.
Ooh.
Sometimes do this. I'm not accusing him of either. He might,
Right.
but we will examine that as the time arises to do so.
Okay.
We're gonna have a big show today.
Oh.
Like many of you,
Oh.
I spent a chunk of the day reviewing the preliminary hearing from you.
Done.
Goal in mind.
What?
I wanted to scale the mountain. I was promised a mountain of evidence. I was told there would be mountains of evidence. There's a mountain of evidence. I didn't see the mountain. If I'm being honest, I saw no mountain. I saw grainy footage. I saw hearsay. I didn't say it, but he said, I saw a lot of trust me, bro.
Oh.
I saw no mountains. I don't know when the mountains are coming. Maybe they're small mountains. Maybe we're quite literally making mountains out of mole hills. I'll be honest. Not only did the government not show anything that would even approach reasonable doubt in a regular trial, I think if the judge had to rule based on today alone, how could you even
Proceed with the
how
drive.
could you even find that it continues on to a trial? I mean, that was, and we will go through some of it. We'll go through some of it.
Exactly.
Camera's not working?
Ooh.
Well, tell me, stop me if you've heard this one before. Next thing you're going to tell me is that Jeffrey Einstein's camera stopped working in the Manhattan Correctional Center facility. right as he
I understand.
took his own life. Next thing you're going to tell me is
Classic.
while he was eating a steak at the Penguin Steakhouse, that stopped. Oh yeah, both of those things are true as well. And the cop body cam stopped working. Guys, there's a bunch we've got to go through. There's a bunch we got to go through. I do want to set the stage. It is day one. And right away from our I don't want to say trial coverage, because pretty much a lot of what we've done the last 10 months has been preparation for the trial. But
Right.
I've shied away from kind of a blow by blow of daily court hearings, and I'm going to violate that a little bit today, because I thought there were several interesting things that needed to be covered.
Great.
So we were getting
Well, we need some.
I kind of holding it in the tank. I wasn't sure when I wanted to do this opening, but today was the day.
Go ahead.
Today was the day. We
Let's
had the Colbert crash out, that thing, but we also had Stacey Sheridan, two girls, show up. That was kind of harsh, perhaps, but Stacey Sheridan showed up for the trial. She all of her showed up for the trial.
Not
All
all
that-
of her.
And
Titties out?
she sort of had handler vibes. Andrew Colbert all day has basically admitted to having handler vibes. And so it was the perfect day to talk about handlers, particularly handlers when it comes to assets that don't know they're being handled. This is something specific to the spycraft arena, but it is not rare. It happens quite a bit, and today seems like a perfect day to talk about it. Because in the terms of a handler is someone who directs an operation, and they do it on behalf of a principal. Rarely is the handler the organization that wants something done. They usually hire some sort of an in-between. It's typically an intelligence agency, but it can be any kind of an organization. The person being controlled by the handler is called an asset. And it's entirely possible. And in fact, it's quite operationally common for someone to function as a handler while the asset remains
Good.
completely or largely unaware it's being handled.
Right.
In
Hand.
these scenarios, the agency or the organization still treats the interaction as a managed intelligence operation, but externally, it relies on deception. It relies on intermediaries. And it's accomplished through manipulation, sometimes subtle manipulation. The asset in this situation that we're talking about, where the handler is not known to be a handler from the perspective of the asset, it's sometimes called an unconscious agent or a floater
Ooh.
or an unwitting asset. And what we have here is an unwitting asset in this
Ooh.
situation that will provide valuable information and perform useful actions if you don't.
This is an interesting concept.
All while not realizing they're assisting any kind of intelligence service or any other kind of organization. For example, an unwitting asset might believe he's talking to a journalist. He might believe he's talking to an employee or an employer. He might believe he's talking to some sort of a consultant or even a romantic interest. The unwitting asset believes his interactions with the handler are benign, nothing more than participating in some kind of normal professional or personal relationship. But because the handler is working with an unwitting asset, the handler then extracts information, and they do it through a series of elicitation techniques rather than direct questions. You know, in a typical spy situation, you would just sit the asset down and say, "What'd you learn today?" Well, you can't do that if the asset is an unwitting asset. So these subtle conversational methods rely on the exploitation of human psychology.
Hmm.
It can happen through a number of techniques. A handler can flatter the unwitting asset, and that happens. You praise his expertise. You encourage him to share more. You really build him up. You just gas him up, and the asset just loves it. Most people cannot resist flattery. The handler can share exciting or interesting information, and will share a small piece of information, and hopefully that will trigger the unwitting asset to reciprocate in a big way and really divulge a great deal of information. That make provocative or false statements even about a topic, and then the unwitting asset cannot resist the urge to correct the record.
Mm.
Best way to get the truth on any kind of social media is to make an incorrect statement. People will fall all over themselves to correct you.
To
and make
correct
you get
It goes unheard. No
Mm.
one gives him, a rip.
Mm.
So you pretend to have this limited knowledge, and it can warm up the unwitting asset to give better explanations, detailed explanation. And that is everyone's favorite trap. It is so irresistible. It's probably more irresistible than flattery, and that's gossip. Build quite a bit of rapport with an unwitting asset through gossiping about some juicy topics. And these techniques are often deployed, and they're ongoing. They're ongoing. They sometimes last years, sometimes decades. And that way the target never really feels interrogated. Handler relationships can be pretty complex. Sometimes they use cutouts or layers of separation might be important. And that ensures the handler remains available if the unwitting asset cuts off the relationship or starts to move in different circles. A handler may never meet the asset directly. Instead, the handler may use intermediaries who they themselves may be witting or unwitting assets. Organizations can use these unwitting assets for a lot of reasons. There is, frankly, a lower operational risk, and there's a reduced chance of the asset defecting or being turned if the asset doesn't know he's an asset. It's also clean, very clean. It's cleaner for the handler, it's cleaner for the handler's organization because it gives them plausible deniability if the operation is exposed or goes south. And there are some people, perhaps most people, who just won't accept the role of being an asset. It's a little deceptive. And so using unwitting assets gives handlers access to all these targets who would never knowingly work with intelligence communities or even some other organization who wants to exploit them or use them. But internally, from the perspective of the organization, there's not a lot of difference, whether using a witting or unwitting asset. The handler still validates the asset. The handler still tasks the asset with accomplishing certain objectives. And the handler still reports the intelligence up the chain. The asset's simply unaware of the full context. The asset doesn't know the handler's true affiliation or role. And because we're talking about sensitive operations, detailed examples are pretty sparse, but they're known. They're known. We have clear patterns with documented cases, particularly during the Cold War. And there's some examples from modern corporate espionage. But this is the spycraft. This is a trade craft that's taught in the community. During the Cold War, for example, both the West and the Soviets, they extensively used unwitting assets. They sometimes referred to these unwitting assets as useful idiots. These useful idiots were nothing more than individuals going about their ordinary lives, but who either advanced a cause or maybe shared information without realizing they were being manipulated. The KGB ran very sophisticated active measures, and they would plant disinformation, and they would do it in obscure publications. And they were using unwitting journalists or activists, and then they would amplify those messages in the mainstream media. There was a guy named Oleg Kalugin, a former KGB officer, who described operations that exploited genuine social grievances in the United States, things like racial tensions or equal rights for women. They would forge documents or letters. They would inflame divisions. And they would know that unwitting reporters and activists would spread the material. They couldn't help themselves.
50% of
It advanced their cause. Journalists and academics were pretty frequent targets of unwitting conduits. There was a famous commentator named Walter Lippmann. Walter Lippmann had a secretary named Mary Price. Turns out Mary Price was a Soviet agent. Mary Price accessed and copied Lippmann's materials from his files. He had no knowledge of it. And what she gave to her organization was valuable insight. And she just passed it up the chain. Lippmann himself met with individuals that were later identified as Soviet intelligence officers. And he did it under journalistic cover. He remained unaware of their true roles until the operation was exposed. Similar dynamics played out with other influential writers and thinkers, political figures who served as unwitting sources of context, access, or even documents. And influence and disinformation operations, cultivation of networks. Say people who believed they were engaging in legitimate political or culture exchange, but people who were doing it, whether they believed it or not, they became assets. And that unwitting asset was for the purpose of propaganda or even intelligence plays. In more recent decades, economic and technological espionage has seen a significant rise in unwitting assets. You had Chinese intelligence services. They've been linked to operations where scientists, engineers, even executives of big companies were invited to conferences. They were paid for speaking engagements. They collaborated on projects in China. Unwitting assets often shared technical details because they thought they were just participating in normal conversation. And these are just a few of the well-known examples where the operation was exposed and the handlers and unwitting assets were identified. What they do is they illustrate a core truth of their type of spycraft. Effective handling does not require the asset's awareness. Deception, psychological subtlety, real compartmentalization. They allow handlers to extract value. And while they're doing it, they maintain the operation's secrecy and value. The asset may never learn the truth. They may only discover it years into the operation, even sometimes after the operation has concluded. The consequences of an unwitting asset uncovering the operation can be disastrous. The unwitting asset may begin to evaluate all of his interactions in his entire life. Interactions with the suspected handler or handlers. He
Oh,
may even grow suspicious of nearly every round.
he might be talking about Charlie Kirk.
And profound breaches of trust often come with widespread fallout. And that's because the handler's role is fundamentally about control and collection. Control and collection comes within a very high-stake environment.
Talking about Charlie.
While he was an unwitting agent, the unwitting agent provided safe and plausibly deniable access. But when that safety and plausible deniability evaporates, the handler and the handler's organization must take decisive action.
Oh, she was saying
They
walking in the
have
rain.
to protect the operation at all costs. And in spycraft, we know sometimes assets must be neutralized or liquidated to protect the operation. That is your opening statement. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. I mentioned it today because I am
Charlie Kirk.
beyond. Charlie was an unwitting asset.
Right.
After Andrew Colbett's crackdown today, and particularly with the arrivals of different people at the courthouse. There's a very strange set of arrivals.
Okay.
I want to start with, I'll get to Andrew's crash out in a minute. I want to start with just the arrivals. We have some video footage of different people arriving at the courthouse at different times. This is Erica Kirk arriving. You'll notice she comes in a side door or a back door. I predicted this. And she would not walk into the front door. And I think that's probably smart. I think that's probably smart to take a high-profile figure who is the basically victim in this case, as recognized by the state of Utah, and allow her to come in the side door. I have no problem in the world with that. I know a lot of people have been over backward, been out of shape, I think is a better way to explain it. Me, not so much. This one bit me out of shape. This one bit me out of shape. This is the arrival of Charlie Kirk's parents. I want you to see how they arrived. I think I got this from Brandy Sicilian. I'm trying to get people credit. I don't know where I got the first. I want you to watch how they arrive, and I want you to pay particular attention to this tallish blonde lady with the angry haircut and no top, or at least she has a top on, but only half of a top. I want you to pay attention to her and how she acts. Now she's sitting there waiting for Charlie's parents. Like she's been there. She got dropped off already. She could have gone into the courthouse. She was invited, but she doesn't go in. She waits in the parking lot for Charlie's parents. He really doesn't say anything. But she just stands there in her Erica Kirk 7-year-old haircut. And here come Charlie's parents. Charlie's dad's the bald-headed fella in the charcoal business suit. They're obviously the ones she's holding. Now look at Stacey Sheridan reach out to grab the dad, and the dad just blows by her. And notice how Stacey Sheridan is not wearing courtroom attire. She's wearing stripper attire.
Uh-oh.
Who dressed that woman this morning?
Oh my God. It's a cami.
The
It's a,
first thing you put away before you go into the courtroom. That's just
it's a cami. It's a cami.
Eagles jerseys in the courtrooms. But their boobs aren't hanging out. Like they put them away before they go in. They might wear a Philadelphia Eagles jersey, but it covers the cleavage. Not Stacey Sheridan. I don't know what message she's sending and to whom, but that's how she chose to go into the courthouse. It just shocked me when I saw it. I thought, oh, this is what the day's going to be like. I thought this was going to be pretty mundane. No, we got softcore porn. Okay, hold please. We've got more. We have Erica's family, her mother and father, and her. During the testimony, when it got particularly tense at an early juncture, we see them exit the courtroom. I was a little surprised by this because I thought that they were told I thought they told the crowd they couldn't come and go except at breaks. That's pretty standard in a courtroom.
The media was not going to film exhibits.
There goes Erica.
And they're filming the ones that are on that screen.
I
So I
don't
guess
think people are, that girl kinda looks like her, so I'm thinking she's related somehow. I don't know if this is her sister, her niece, or, I don't know who these people are. I think this blonde girl in the front may be her sister. I went and looked up a picture of her sister today, and it kind of looks like her. This kind of looks like it could be a niece, and I guess that would make this kid a nephew,
I
maybe?
need to clarify that.
I don't know. I don't know. But so they kind of came and went, and the judge was gracious, and he said, you know what, she's going to be treated like the victim. Well, I understand she's able to kind of come and go, but to exit a whole row from court. Make it over.
Reason I will never. We see. I'm reaching out, I'm fully past the donation. For people power. We have two ways to get back on track for funds. We need a lot more donations, or we need those who give forward to donate a large amount of their last contribution. I wish I didn't have to make that ask. But we need the resources to take on mega donors, politicians, what is. Please put the link below. Tributes.
You don't have to anymore. Trim RX gets you a prescription GLP-1 for as low as $179 a month, shipped free to your door. No waiting rooms, no insurance fraud, no surprise charges, even when your dose goes up. Something that never happens anywhere else. Answer a few questions online, have a quick chat with a medical expert, and if you qualify, your personalized prescription arrives straight from a licensed pharmacy. And if anything comes up, day or night, the medical team is just a text away. Soon, that constant food noise quiets down. Smaller portions start to feel like plenty. And then a sense of control over your body that's been missing for years returns. Trim RX, a prescription weight loss medication with dedicated medical support for less than the price of a cup of coffee a day. Take a 2-minute quiz to see if you qualify.
We heard that there was potentially Secret Service input because John Jr. So Donald Trump Jr. is inside the Provo, Utah courtroom for the preliminary hearing where heard our Fox reporter in this met then who it's been like a giant sin. Okay. It is really serious. But I don't know. Who showed up? Sergeant Shambles showed up. That's unbelievable. This is why I thought we were going to get a mountain and we're going to get a mountain because Officer Tatertot was there. Yes, Officer Tatertot was there. Let me see if I can blow this up. I don't want to make it too small for me. It's probably all. Brandon Taylor looking like he's on Ozempic. Here, watch this one first. There's a very Ozempified Brandon Taylor walking in. And then on this side, we have Agent Pozo. Check this out. So, a little weird, like, is this a wedding? You know? Got a little red carpet feel to it. I was expecting people like, yeah, it's only fun. Some of the boys out a different group. But I went and fact checked it, and it's true. Czechoslovak was a Navy intel officer. Everybody's allowed to be a Navy intel officer. But he also went to work for Steve Bannon after he left the Navy intel service. At the time, Steve Bannon was buddied up with Jeffrey Einstein of the Einstein files in Einstein Island. I don't know if that had anything to do with anything. It's like 2 degrees of separation. Well, it was all about 2 degrees separation. And so I want to give you an overview of how I saw them. And then I want to talk to you very briefly about the purpose of this hearing, why they did the first place. But I want to give an overview of the judge. Judge Tony Graham has got a lot of grief. And a lot of people think he's just a little too buddy-buddy with the prosecution, rules a little too harshly against the criminal defendant. I did not find it. Hey, man, it's just very much off. But I thought it was fairly neutral. He may have given a little attitude to the prosecution. He didn't rule against him when it was particularly egregious one time. I do have one clip I want to play. This was frankly a little shocking, but I saw it. He was watching the footage of Charlie being taken down. I got the volume. He was watching the footage of Charlie being taken down. Watch his reaction when it happens. And I'll raise a question, but I want you to watch it. You'll know when it happens. There. So that was it. And you can see he's clearly disturbed. I mean, those were involuntary movements of seats and ups and back. And then his eyes, he had that 1,000-yard stare at me. I want you guys to go back to the first time you saw it. I don't know that he'd seen it. I want you to go back to the first time. I had a bigger reaction to that. I was sitting in this very chair. I was talking to a friend of mine I've known 15 plus years, very active. Talking like, no. We were on the phone and I was thinking, because the first image I saw was the very far away first kind of video that's could see what happened. Could see any of it or could see a little piece of anything. You just saw kind of shirt move like the push them on. So it kind of looked like they got eight or something. Shirt and then fell over. We'll see how it goes. Just looking around. And I watched it in preparation for the shows. Figure out what. But I wish I could find out like this. That's not something you can just know as a class. Someone can take. And I remember just gasping. I was on speakerphone. I was on speakerphone. I was like, so. I said, don't watch it. I said, no, whatever you do, don't watch it. Please. It was that shot we've all seen from right up front. And I can imagine if the judge is seeing this for maybe the first time, or maybe it's the first time, and yeah, we'll flinch. Props to him for not doing what I did and gasping like a 9-year-old girl. Because I did. I absolutely did. But it gave me insight in this judge. If that truly was the first time he'd seen it, or he hadn't seen it very often, it's really shocking. Boy, that wasn't just good acting. It did look like good acting. It looked like it was the first time he'd seen it. Props to the judge for not doing what we tell everyone not to do. They need to do. You swear to jury and the judge says, all right, you guys are now in the jury. Do not look at anything in this case. Don't go on the internet. Don't read the local newspaper. Don't watch the local news. You're only going to hear about this case inside this court. And the first thing they do is you can watch it. They're all on their phones looking up Twitter and Facebook, and local news coverage, and message board. I mean, it's human nature. It's human nature. You don't know what's possible. There's always this FOMO. Like there's got to be information or not.
Use 100% grass-fed beef sticks for daily value of 30 sticks for just 36 bucks right now. Before you go buy them, here are 5 reasons I replace processed snacks with these. Number 1, the ingredients. There's 100% grass-fed beef from American Family Farms and organic spices, which makes these sticks incredibly flavorful while keeping things clean. Number 2, they're naturally fermented, which creates a great flavor, but without preservatives like encapsulated lactic or citric acid found in all the other meat sticks. Number 3, they're perfect for like trying to cut back on processed carb and snacks, but still want something satisfying and delicious. Number 4, they're super convenient. I keep them in my bag, the pantry, my desk drawer, and I send them off to school with my kiddo. They're a great protein-rich snack that won't hinder my health goals. And number 5, they're perfectly valid, which means everything is well sourced, 100% grass-fed, grain-free, gluten-free, soy-free, 0 grams of refined sugar, and absolutely no seed oils. Like I said, they're 36 bucks right now, so go and check them out.
We hired a big media agency last year. They were all our bad. I spent well over 6 figures on their fee, and it didn't work out. Obviously, my first instinct was Upwork to find us before because I have been working with Upwork for literally 6 years. If you're not familiar, Upwork is a platform where you can hire freelancers all over the world for a range of different things, from marketing to operations to creative work, all without committing to a full-time client. There are over 125 categories, 10,000 advanced skill sets. So you're not just hiring a marketer, you're hiring someone who does exactly what. And then what I really like is being able to see real work history, reviews, and past results before making your hire. They literally just found a buyer about 2 months ago. So working with us, and it has been seamless for me. It's a reminder, even 6 years into our business, that scaling is not always about spending more money or doing something that was flashy and big. It's just about making the right hires. You do that,
It doesn't look like the judge did that in this case. And all I can do is take my hat off and say, if Judge Bradford truly just watched that for the first time, or one of the very few times you've ever seen that, props to you, sir. Genuine. I mean it. Because it tells me he's taking his job serious. And I don't know if that's true enough. And maybe he was good at it. Maybe he's good at it. But for those of us who've seen that over and over and over, we don't have it. We just don't have it. And so that's not my fault. You did okay job. You know, like I said, gave a little perhaps too much right to the prosecution. Let's the prosecution say the bar is very low. We know how he's going to rule. This is can't just call it a show trial or a show hearing or an exit. It is. It kind of is. You can indict almost anything. For whether federal indictments for creator, you can press pardon, you can proceed to trial, you can fight against him. Like the bar is that low. Honestly, this is how low the bar is. If they would have come up and said, we interviewed somebody who said, they're like, oh, you're on trial. You're not like you don't have to hearsay of someone you said so. That's enough. That's enough. Now, did we even get that? That probably talk about the prosecutor. There was a lot of discussion in the last 10 months under the defense of sandbagging out of the box. I thought they did a pretty good job. They were prepared. Prosecution. I think they were confident. They could rule. Objections. They objected to the appropriate time. They did object. Time to be appropriate. The defense's cross-examination of one witness. They were good. I mean, there was one time, kind of a follow-up, but in hindsight, I bet it was just check. This is sort of like the good one. Probably would have been clear on correctly. But you know, he might have been bigger book, clear up for. And there was one time where he was I said, let them go back and read. But, you know, I'm not going to argue with him on it. Good job. It was not a bad job. Now, we're beginning to just a minute because I have to. Because people don't know what a preliminary trial is. A preliminary hearing. This is not a trial. The standard here is not reasonable doubt. The purpose of this is not to determine whether Tyler Robinson appealed your risk. It's not to determine whether you get that done in your life. Not what was done. A preliminary hearing is a limited pre-trial screening process. All you're trying to do is determine whether probable cause exists. In other words, do you think the prosecution can make a good faith effort and not going to waste the judicial time and not going to unnecessarily keep this guy against his will in jail waiting on his trial? Are they going to be able to produce at least enough evidence for a jury to consider, even if it's not great? That's it. That's all that's happening. Now, the defense, for their case, can challenge the evidence of the preliminary hearing, but it's not going to the sufficiency of the evidence. It's not going to weight you. It's going to the sufficiency. As long as the judge determines the evidence is sufficient to clear that hurdle, nothing the defense said really matters. And I heard this a lot. People say, it seems like they're conceding a gunshot. Well, who cares? There's no jury here. They don't have to go through every theory. All we have to do is try to knock out the sufficiency of the witnesses. And I think they did a pretty good job. And I'll go through some of I don't line by line. I'll go through some of the highlights. Now, what is the standard we talked about? In a trial, I mean, the way it is almost absolutely certain. Like, almost no doubt. Now, reasonable. You can have weird doubt. Like, you know, maybe Charlie had a heart attack and it burst his neck open. Okay, you know, I don't have to rule that out. Like that, as a prosecutor, that's not my job. I don't have to rule out stuff like that. What's all that reasons? Was there another shooting? Was he killed by another being? Was Tyler Robinson the guy who did it? Was it someone else? Like those are the only doubts I have to rule out as a prosecutor. That's reasonable doubt. That's trial. Here, I don't even have to deal with all that stuff. I don't have to even rule out all this in between here and here. I don't have to figure it in the middle of it. You know, kind of is more likely than not. I mean, that's a pretty safe way to say it. And as long as you can get there, he's going to try. And I don't want to spoil the spine, but they're going to try. I mean, I have to get on a scenario with good enough. So what about the rules of evidence? Because I was watching several features. I watched probably 8 different feeds of different companies. And probably half of them did not understand why some evidence should come in. They said, here's a 6 section, you come in. And a trial it won't. But at the preliminary stage, you will. At least in Utah. Utah has a weird word. It's called 1102. And it's embedded in the Constitution.
What is on? You have to tell me which one the healthy version from Thrive and then which one is like that version. Which one do you like better? The Thrive one's better?
Is that right?
That one's Thrive.
It's a lot of cheese.
It is, it has more flavor to it. And it's so we're gonna try this.
That's funny, exactly what's funny.
Except we're gonna do this. Try this.
I'm gonna go with this one, yeah. Say,
You're right.
No.
It's going to win the goes in your mouth. Was not. It was the unreal brand. Would you recommend Thrive?
Yeah, probably.
Guess how much a membership for Thrive is? $5.
When you get with the membership.
Like access to all of the hot brands. You don't have to basically go to the grocery store and decide for what is the best. Because everything on their website is good. And then have to agree for like, I don't like it, have that, gluten free, non-GMO, stuff like that.
IXL is helping 15 million students succeed in math and language arts. On IXL, your child can stay on track over the head and practicing fun and proud.
This is the best stuff. Okay, says that with preliminary speeds, they don't have to abide by the ethics. But ethics to
A lot of prosecution is defense. That's some big arguments. And I think the defense made good arguments today to some of the hearsay wasn't reasonable. The judge let it in anyway.
Right.
Regardless, well, there were two instances where he did, but regardless, I thought they did a pretty good job of at least laying a foundational record to review on appeal in the event Tyler loses.
Exactly.
And that's their job because
Right.
hearing over and over, the defense would make this unconstitutional hearsay objection.
Mm.
And I saw all over X, I saw in different feeds, all the comment sections, everyone saying, what is this unconstitutional hearsay objection? If the judge has already ruled on it, why do they keep raising it? Here's why. We talked about Miranda a few weeks ago. Miranda rights, that you have a right to remain silent. Do you know how many people raised the issue before the Supreme Court finally considered it and ruled in favor of Miranda against Arizona? Thousands, maybe tens of thousands of criminal trials. People went in front of the judge and said, Judge, my guy confessed, but they didn't tell him he had a right to remain silent. And the judge said, there's no requirement to remain silent. Then they said, well, we're raising a constitutional objection. It violates his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, that he's not aware of his right. And the judges would say, there's no one telling us we have to issue this, so we're not going to. Well, eventually, one day, one of those cases, I think 4, made it to the Supreme Court. They combined them. They called it Miranda versus Arizona, but I think it was 3 or 4 different cases that kind of smushed together, all examining the same issue. If a guy confesses but didn't know he didn't have to, do we have to give a new trial? And the Supreme Court finally said, yeah, you know what? After 100 years of hearing this and saying, we're finally going to say, yeah. And so what they're doing is they're lobbying an objection in front of the judge to say, Judge, you know this isn't right. This reliable hearsay stuff sucks. We don't know who said this. We can't test it. We can't cross-examine them. We're allowed to attack the sufficiency, but then we can't attack the sufficiency because the person who's in charge of the evidence isn't here. And one day, some appellate court may look at that and say, you know what, you're wrong. And so you raise the objection, even though you know you're going to lose at the trial court level. I don't think the judge could sustain that objection if he wanted to. I don't think Utah law would allow him. It's in the Constitution, it's in the code, and the Supreme Court has said it's okay. The judge, if he ruled in favor of the defense on that issue, the judge would be out of line. He would be making an illegal ruling. It would be an activist judge. We don't like activist judges in this country. Well, we don't. Some people do, but I don't. I think judges should follow the law, even when they disagree with the person. And I think that's what the judge is doing. He's following the law. An appellate court may come later and say, you know what, we agree with Tyler Robinson's counsel. But I don't think the trial court judge has that ability right now. So I don't blame the judge for overruling it, but I also don't blame Tyler Robinson's lawyer for raising it on every witness. They should, in every exhibit. They should. Because one day a court is going to have to look at this and say, what's going on in Utah? It's not right. It's not right at all. Now, I did speak to somebody today who told me something shocking. And before I get into the evidence, I want to get to this. A lot was made today about camera footage, video footage, pictures, and what we got was a mountain of trash. We got grainy footage. We got stuff you can't see. We saw a car that kind of looked like Tyler Robinson's car pull up on a Ring doorbell camera, and it looked like you were looking at it through the ocean, like it was on the bottom of the sea, and we're at the, it was horrible. You could kind of make out that maybe somebody stepped out of that car, but you could not tell if it was a skinny guy or a fat guy, a Mexican, a Chinese guy, a black guy, a white guy, a woman, a man. You could tell nothing about who got out of that car. We've all seen the video footage of the guy scampering across the roof. You can't tell anything about that. Not a single person on earth can honestly sit here today and say, I know that's Tyler Robinson. You can't. But you know who might have had images? You know who might have had footage, camera footage, still footage, moving footage?
You.
Tyler Robinson or anyone else or something else might have happened. Every media person in attendance. If I wanted to capture all of the high quality footage from that day, including all of the high quality cameras that were trained on Charlie Kirk at the moment of the Big Bang. Maybe somebody picked up something walking through campus. Maybe Tyler Robinson or Lance Quiggs or some other co-conspirator. Maybe rule out that it could have been somebody else in the crowd that did it. Who's the first person you would call? Well, you would want to call somebody with a master list of every media person who was there then. I know that person's name. Her name's Aubrey Leitch. She used to work for TPUSA until very recent. Aubrey Leitch is the person, the singular person who approved all the press passes that day. You know how many people have reached out to her to determine who was there and who might have evidence that can either exculpate or convict Tyler Robinson? Nobody. Nobody at TPUSA has reached out to her. No one reached out to her while she worked there and said, hey, here's a list of everybody who was here. We'd like to contact them and make sure they preserve the footage. Maybe give us a copy. We're interested in who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why. There are a lot of rumors going around out there, and if we had all the footage, maybe we'd be able to assist. Not one person from TPUSA reached out. Nobody at the Utah County Sheriff's Office who was tasked with investigating this stuff to determine who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why. No one from the Utah County Sheriff's Office reached out. No one from the FBI. The FBI has considerable resources when it comes to looking at individual crimes. They could have taken this in. They could have run it through AI programs. They could have at least cataloged it and preserved it somewhere as some sort of central repository of truth. All the high quality camera images that were there that day, all the 1080 video, the 4K video, all the high quality 32, 64 megapixel camera shots. Nobody from the FBI. And shockingly, probably more shocking than anything, nobody from the prosecution and nobody from the defense reached out to her to ask who was there. Who from the media was there? Instead, we're just grabbing footage that's floating around on the internet, trying to run down the postable. That's what we're doing. That's how we're solving the Tyler Robinson case. That's how we're solving who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why. We're counting on interested people to put it on X. Pretty shocking. And if I'm the defense, I think I'd jump up and down and make a deal out of this at some point during the trial. You guys did not investigate this. You had an opportunity to contact every newsman there. And there were a lot of news people there. A lot. For an event that size. Too much media. Had people calling at the last minute to get media passes. But they don't know who they were. Nobody called. Why? Wouldn't you think somebody would? I do. I think so. I think somebody should have. I think somebody should have if they didn't. All right, let's go through some of these clips, some of the big moments from the day. The first witness was a guy named Chris Bagley. He sucked. He was a disaster. If I'm this guy, I'm getting out of town. I'm changing my name. I'm wearing a wig, shaving my mustache. I'm getting out. This guy sucked. If I'm being honest, if I'm the prosecution, I'm like, is there a way we can try this case without this guy? I'm not sure you can. I'm not sure you can, but he sucked. He was horrible. I want to run through a little bit of his testimony here because it was a little shocking. Right? It was a little shocking. All right, let me play this small sliver here.
Did you hear about?
Yeah, yeah. Right. Look, I knew I wasn't tripping. I'm like, let me go to Barron because this guy is irking me.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Did you make it to the rooftop?
I did.
You know about what time you got there?
I got there at 12:44.
Okay. What did you do when you got on top?
Well, let me just say that. It was 21 minutes from the time you heard the Big Bang at 12:22 until Officer Bagley waddled over there by 12:44. 21 minutes. We'd read the probable cause affidavit. We'd read the charging documents. This is the first time we got to hear from him live. This Bagley guy. He was the first one to respond. He was positioned at the top of the Hall of Flags. The Hall of Flags is that roof that was above Charlie Kirk and behind him. Right. And he hears the boom, and he scampers down the stairs. He hangs out in the courtyard for a minute. Well, I don't want to give away the whole thing, but he hangs around in the courtyard for a minute, finds a gun holster, walks past it, doesn't catalog it, just walks past it, and then he heads over to the Losi Center. Why? Because he, in his expert determination, found that the Losi Center was the obvious place for the gun shop. It's noteworthy that he's the only one who would have had eyes on the Losi Center, the only one who could have possibly had eyes on the Losi Center, and video footage suggested he did. Video footage from the moment of the bang suggests that's where he was looking. Yet he didn't see him, but he knew where to go.
When I got on top, I hopped over the guardrail. I noticed that there was an object which was sitting right about 10 or 15 feet in from the other side of the guardrail in the gravel. I looked out.
And in relationship to where you hopped over the guardrail, what direction was that object?
To the west of the guardrail.
Okay. And Did you recognize the object?
I did.
And what was it?
The red and black screwdriver.
Did you touch that object?
Did not.
Okay. I am going to refer the witness on your screen, Officer Bagley, to State's Exhibit 3.1. Let me know when you see that.
Yes, I see.
Do you recognize what that is?
I do.
And what is that?
That's a picture of the screwdriver that I saw there on top of the roof.
And that's how it appeared on the roof that day?
Yes,
Is that fair and accurate portrayal of the screwdriver you observed and found that day?
yes.
Your Honor, it offers State's Exhibit 30.1.
Ms. Nestor?
Your Honor, we renew our standing objection and object on the grounds that there's no foundation laid as to when the photo was taken or by whom.
Let me pause this for just a second. So that's the finding of the red and black screwdriver. Now, you would think, because this is after all 2024 or 2026 or 2025, 2025. You would think that this would all be documented somewhere. He just found a critical piece of evidence. He found a screwdriver. There's no evidence that Charlie Kirk was shot with a screwdriver. Don't get me wrong. But the screwdriver comes into play because of the absurdly ridiculous story we're told that Tyler Robinson climbed to the roof of the Losi Center with 2 or more pieces, we're not sure how many pieces, used a screwdriver to fashion it back together, somehow maintained a near perfect zero, meaning where you're aiming is where the bullet will go, and scurried off the rooftop with all the evidence. Oh, but he forgot the screw. Unlucky him. Unlucky him. Now, you would assume that would be documented. We're familiar with body camera footage. Officer Bagley? Was it documented? It was documented, right, Officer Bagley? You documented it, right?
Hey,
While you were on the roof, did you encounter any spent casings?
As
ooh,
a matter of fact, no, that's why when I saw the prone position or the person be laying down a sniper, I had been around guns and snipers all the time. I was looking for a spin shell casing. I couldn't.
just answer the question. I don't need all that extra stuff.
I couldn't find a shell casing of that.
That would be, the reason you would be looking for that was because some types of guns, when they shoot, eject a casing automatically, right? So do, some don't,
Yes.
right? And then you also didn't find any unshot bullets?
No.
Okay. Are you aware of there being a bullet found on another roof? This thing?
Mm.
You aware of another bullet being found on the scene, not on the roof of the Losi building? All right, your body cam footage that I reviewed appears to end while you're still on the roof. Do you know why that is?
I think the battery went dead. It was just right at that moment.
And do you know, did you ever turn it back on that day or go get it I don't know, you have to do charge it or stick a new battery in it? I don't even know.
Usually docked it, but no, I didn't go back. It was too chaotic.
Body cam footage died. At the critical moment, the body cam footage died. I was on the roof, scouring evidence. I was just about to find the fatal screwdriver. I mean the critical screwdriver. I was looking for spent casings. And that pesky body cam. Oh, it died. It died. Oh, it died. What do you mean it died? Well, it just ran out of juice. Well, that's interesting. I'm looking here at some body cam footage. I want to know what kind of famous body cam footage companies are out there. Here's Provision. This is a common body cam footage. Recording duration and storage limits. Full shift recording strains department resources through increased data storage costs. Battery limitations also affect recording capacity, with most current generation cameras providing 10 to 14 continuous hours of continuous recordings. Wow, 10 to 14 hours. That's amazing. That's amazing. He got there at 11. Well, 12:44. That's only an hour and 44 minutes. Well, that must be an unusual model. Well, no. Here's another common model of body cam that police officers use. The Axon Body 4. Purpose built to be an incredible camera. This camera has a 13-hour battery life, ensuring the camera is a reliable full shift partner, even when real-time services like live streaming are used. Oh. So body cam footage is supposed to last 10 to 14 hours, 13 hours? And you got an hour and 44 minutes, and at the critical moment, right when all the marbles are at risk, all of our chips are in the middle, we're down to the felt, the cards are about to be flipped over, the body cam footage dies? That's a little Jeffrey Epstein for me, if we're being honest. It just is. It just is. It's the 3 minutes of missing footage in the middle of the night. It's the cameras were broken on that wing. Sorry, guys, I'm not buying it. I think that's trash. I think that's trash. This is the guy who found the prone position. You want to see what the prone position that he found looks like? You guys make a claim and say, well, your screen is only recording at 1080. Guys, this guy was talking about knee prints and footprints and elbow prints and rifle prints. Where are all these prints, sir? The gravel over here looks more disturbed than the gravel that you're saying is the prone position here. And we might believe that you found it in this condition. Your body cam footage didn't die. You're the worst witness I've seen in a long time in any trial. I can't believe.
I'll keep this quick. We need
Somebody was trying to get my attention. Thank you for the engagement.
This is a disaster. And we're only like 1/3 of one witness in. Now let's go back to the radio scanner. Let's go back to the radio scanner. Let me back it up just a smidge to give you a little more context. Here is the radio scanner from that encounter. Listen for the word screwdriver. You would think if he saw the fatal screwdriver, that would be the first thing he would talk about.
On top of the whole building, you have kind of an imprint, which would be a great angle to 1014 on top of Luffy. Do we have suspect information, or are we still looking for someone? Yeah, they can. Or on PDF for Buffalo, trying to get that motorcycle drop, maybe a suspect in that shooting. What would you drop it? Hey, Beck, can you double your camera in that area?
I know they have spotted somebody. I think they're still trying to make contact.
I'll go ahead and spoil the surprise. There was no screwdriver discussed on the dispatch. You would think the guy with the dead body cam footage would have known to immediately signal in that you'd found evidence. Oh, we got a screwdriver up here. Well, when he was in the preliminary hearing, that's the first thing he mentioned was the screwdriver. Now we can't find him anywhere. Well, did he go up there alone? Did this officer Bagley, did he go up alone on the Losi Center? No, he didn't go up alone on the Losi Center. He had company. Who accompanied him to the top of the Losi Center? Do share. We're all on the edge of our senior jacks.
And it was on. Yes. And it appears to me from reviewing your body camera that there was another individual who was with you that went to the Losi building who was in civilian clothing but appeared to have a gun. Who's that?
I don't know who he was exactly. He had a badge on, and I had somebody with me backing up. So I went upstairs to make sure I had somebody with me.
So you don't know what agency he's from or where he's from?
No.
And it looked like he had a pistol.
Yes.
Is that right?
I had him.
From the hand.
So
Okay.
you walking to the top of the building with a random person who you don't know, but they got a gun.
Bagley, somehow positioned at the top of the Hall of Flags with a perfect view to the Losi Center,
Right.
appears on camera to be looking that way at the
Right.
moment of the intuitively says he didn't see anything. Intuitively says that sounds like a rifle that came from the Losi Center, or it sounds like a rifle, and it must have come from the Losi Center. I don't know why he chose the Losi Center. There were all kinds of buildings around. They all made no. He went straight, made a beeline for the Losi Center. When he gets there, his body cam fits. He shows up on the scene of the crime. He's ready to find the screwdriver. He's ready to find the imprint of a body laying there. But that dadgum body camera footage failed after an hour and 44 minutes. Well, that's too bad. But he wasn't alone. Too bad we can't question the other guy. We don't know who he was. No, just a guy in civilian clothes with a gun and a badge. Who? Are you telling me there was law enforcement there that we don't have documented? We don't know who that was? Maybe we'll find out who it was. But it's a little weird to me. How do we know this guy's not dropping screwdrivers? How do we know this guy's not making imprints with his foot? We don't. We don't, because his body cam failed, and we don't know who that was. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a little weird. I mean, just right out of the gate, that's a little weird. Is that reasonable doubt? I don't know. Weird. Definitely weird. If I was going to frame somebody, I, might want to get on top of that roof with a guy in civilian clothes and a badge and a gun to drop screwdrivers off. Maybe. I don't know. But that happened. Like, that was testimony in the courtroom today. That was testimony in the courtroom. Now, we know for a fact. They got this from Honest Ash, Real Honest Ash on X. We know for a fact that that this guy Bagley, at least he testified, reviewed some surveillance footage. How confident was he in the surveillance footage that he reviewed? This officer Bagley, what did he see precisely? It's all gonna come down to this. We're told he was on video camera, man. We saw the guy on video camera. He was up there with a gun. Oh, was he?
Do you mention anywhere in this report that you saw a gun?
I did not, I just know that.
So he did not mention in his police reports that he saw a gun after reviewing the surveillance footage that we're promised shows Tyler Robinson, not anyone else, but Tyler Robinson. We're told this shows Tyler Robinson with a gun. This is the guy who reviewed the surveillance footage. He reviews footage, he writes up a report and doesn't mention a gun. Just mentions an object. Well, now we're getting into mountains of reasonable doubt, right? Because you gotta have a gun to shoot somebody. You can't shoot somebody with an object. Some objects will shoot people, but a lot of objects won't. Broomsticks don't shoot people. Poles don't shoot people. Flag sticks don't shoot people. All could be considered objects.
Did you mention that you saw that object? Is that on here?
Nope, that wasn't in there either, actually. So get rid of the object. That wasn't in his initial impression of the video either.
Left that out. Now we're look at that over and over again.
The video, no, I went the other twice.
Oh, really? When's the last time you saw it?
It's been months.
Okay. The last time you saw it, were you able to tell what that object was in his hand?
Yes,
Yeah.
well, not tell what it is. I can see there's an object in it, but yeah.
And could
Couldn't tell what the object was the last time he saw it. So this is the guy we're relying. This is the convicting evidence. This is the guy who they used in the charging documents to say that Tyler Robinson scampered off the roof with a gun. This guy. It was his report that didn't mention an object in his hand. And that he's still looking back says, well, I can't tell it's a gun. I can see it's an object.
knowing what you know about the case today, do you have an idea about what that object was?
That's the question I wouldn't have asked. I mentioned that earlier that I would not have asked the question. You know, sometimes you just let the fact finder, in this case, the judge, you just sort of let his imagination run wild. If you got a guy on the hook, you don't take him off and throw him back into the ocean, right? You just let the prosecution's going to clean that up. But make them earn their money. They get paid a state paycheck. They're probably making 100, 120, 150 grand a year to sit at that table. Let them earn their paycheck. You don't have to go in and clean it up for them. You know, you said you didn't see an object, but are you sure you didn't see an object? Any idea what it could have been? Oh, don't ask that question.
It was like a rifle or something that big, long object.
A rifle or something to that effect, a long object. I can think of a lot of long objects that are not rifles. I got several in here. I mean, I got long objects in here. I got tripods for the camera, tripods for the. I'm not suggesting a guy is on the roof with a tripod, but we're talking about killing a man here. We're talking about depriving him of his life, putting him in front of a firing squad or injecting stuff in his veins that'll cause him to suffocate and die. We might want to be a little more sure than long object.
Like a long object, like sitting along. You laid it like almost like covered over something.
So you saw the cover, which was the towel, right?
Yes, and the shape of it is long.
Okay.
We saw a long towel. That's what he saw. Some sort of cup, some sort of long something.
The towel, but you can't see an actual. But you can't see an actual gun.
No, like an object, like a form of it, like a long object.
You
I can't.
mentioned
Somebody asked me the other day in a super chat, could I define circumstantial evidence? I don't even think that's circumstantial. That's it. Like I saw something. He had to do
Something.
something.
It was something.
Something important as we are reviewing the evidence. So it's pretty important. It actually, if you go to the original probable cause affidavit, so this is from September 12th. If you go to the original probable cause affidavit, this is very consistent. What he said today in court is very consistent with what was in the original probable cause affidavit. Here it is highlighted in blue. Suspect appeared to be carrying an item whose identity is not clear from the surveillance. So an unidentified object is what is being carried. That is the language from the probable cause affidavit on September 12th. 4 days later, September 16th, we have ourselves new language. We have ourselves new language. I think somebody realized you can't convict somebody for carrying a large object. So they changed it. Camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof to the suspected shooting position. Immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captures the suspect running across the roof, carrying an item whose shape is consistent with a rifle. I'm not even sure you can convict somebody for carrying an item consistent with the shape of a rifle, but at least we're getting somewhere. But you have to admit, the guy you're relying on didn't say that. That's not what he said. That's not at all what he said. In fact, what he said was he could not identify the person on the roof other than not being hefty. I don't remember the exact words he used. I stole this from the Dankster. I don't think he'll care. Danks, You're doing the Lord's work out here compiling it. That's what I put. This is how he described the figure he saw on the roof.
You have that, Dave?
Yes.
You mentioned when you went to the police department, you watched the video where you saw an individual up on the roof, right? And that individual was in the vicinity where you saw the disturbance in the gravel.
Yes.
And when you looked at that video, were you able to identify the individual's face?
Well, that's a problem. Again, we're talking about putting a man to his death. A lot of times you want to make sure you've identified the correct individual. We just got evidence that you actually cannot identify his face. What about other characteristics?
Were you able to identify any markings on their clothing?
No markings on the clothing. So all of a sudden, the guy in the stairwell becomes largely irrelevant. We have no idea what the guy on the roof was wearing.
Were you able to identify their height?
I have no idea who it is. Could have been a 5'2", I don't know, Chinese guy. Could have been a 6'9" height guy. We don't know.
When we looked at the picture of I think you called it the sniper purse, I'm gonna use your word. It looked like there was a measuring tape laid out next to it. Were you present when they measured like the distance, like how tall that person would have been?
I was not. So we don't know how tall.
So you don't know what that is. Were you able to tell the person's weight from the video that you saw?
I can tell he wasn't heavy set.
Okay, so he's not a fatty. He's not a fatty. That's all I know. I mean, I don't even think we can say he at this point.
Right.
I think we can't rule out the 50% of the population, roughly maybe 51%, that's female. At this point, we're going with human. I mean, I think we can settle on human. I don't think it's Bigfoot up there. I don't think. But we have no markings on his clothing. We have no face. We don't know what he's carrying. It's an object. Long stick. We don't know how tall he is. We know he's not hefty. He eats salad. That's the only thing we know about him. He loves salad. Salad, fruit plate, beef. That's all he eats. Lean, cold cuts, maybe some fish, steamed broccoli. That's all we know. That's all we know. The guy doesn't sit around pounding bags of leg. He doesn't eat a gallon of ice cream every day.
Maybe.
That's the skinniest guy I've ever looked at. Is he would consider himself heavy set? I think it would have been a perfect opportunity. Oh man, now that I think about it. As soon as he said he wasn't heavy set, let me pull this back. As soon as he said he wasn't heavy set, I think Catherine Nestor should have gone, what about me? Am I heavy set? Was he smaller than me?
Mhm.
Would you call me?
Mhm.
What do you mean by heavy set?
Throw him off his game.
Fun. I mean, force the guy into the most awkward conversation. What is one no man wants to be asked?
Right. Yeah. Do all those, I don't know.
You know? There's no shade on Catherine Nestor. I mean, just work with what you got, girl. Use it to your advantage. Walk through it. Walk through it. This is where we are in this case.
Exactly. And it's a mess already.
Knew precisely which route to go to. I was accompanied by a civilian, or in a man in civilian clothes, in a badge that I didn't identify. I have no idea what agency he worked for. Could have bought it on eBay for all we know. Amazon. Could have used a 3D printer and shine that bad boy up with some Krylon gold trim. I have no idea what agency he worked for, but he had a gun and a badge. So I took him to the scene of the crime. And I made sure that my body cam footage died right when me and unknown guy showed up to the scene of the crime. And we're the only two people there. And then I later reviewed some surveillance footage and confirmed that some sort of creature was on that roof. Probably human. Not a fat human at that. Not a heavy set human. An Ozempic American. And he was carrying something long. He had something long. But I don't know what clothes he was wearing. I didn't identify his face. I was not able to get any identifying characteristic. I don't know how tall he was, how old he was, what color he was. I know nothing about the man. I was promised mountains of evidence. I was promised they'd have him on camera. Well, do they?
Do they?
Do they have him on camera?
Do they?
Do they have him on camera?
Right.
Do they have Tyler Robinson on camera?
Shooting, exactly.
You're a man. You promised us mountains of evidence.
We got Luigi, allegedly. Like, I know we saw Luigi. Clear as day.
You promised us mountains of evidence. The next guy came up. Oh gosh, I didn't mean to start jumping in right away. The next guy who came up was a guy named Hull, David Hull. I was hoping they would get to Brian Davis today. They didn't. I think Brian Davis will tell us for sure whether that 6:25 p.m. Mirandizing was on September 11th or September 12th. It's going to be an interesting discussion. I think he has to know the answer because he is alleged to have shown up at 10 or 10:30. The arrest documents say he got there at 10. It'll be interesting. I'm sure the defense will cover it if the prosecution doesn't. But what time did you first hear about it? Where were you? Were you in Salt Lake City? Were you in Provo? Were you in Orem? How long did it take you to get there? So what time did you leave to head there in order 10 or 10:30? Did you drive an extraordinarily high rate of speed? Or did you drive normal 70, 75 miles an hour down the interstate? I think that'll be interesting when that comes up. It'll be very interesting. But the second witness was not Brian Davis, as I hoped. The second witness was a guy named David Hull. I found it noteworthy. I don't know why, that the guy had some sort of accent that was un-American. I don't know if I'm not good with accents. I don't know if it was British or Australian. I don't know what it was. But he didn't sound local. I don't know why that. You're allowed to be a cop and not an American or be raised somewhere else. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he's an F.S. citizen. And you could probably still do a good job, but you know, I favor the guy with the Utah accent in this case. But he was there largely, I'll say, to talk about the extra video footage. So he talked about the video footage from Terrell Farnsworth. By way of introduction, Terrell Farnsworth was the guy who runs a company called Visual Impulse. I think is the name of the company. Visual Impulse, I believe, only has one client. It might have more, but I think they only have one client, and that's TPUSA. So Terrell Farnsworth is not a TPUSA employee; he's a contract. But his office, at least used to be, located in the building where Charlie Kirk was located, in the studio where they filmed Charlie Kirk's show. I don't think it's there anymore. I think they moved it to one of the other buildings. But regardless, he's on campus or at the embassy, as they like to call it at TPUSA, the embassy there on Beverly Road in Phoenix. There was an interesting discussion about how the FBI ended up with possession of the different video. And we have that. We have that discussion captured. Listen carefully to this discussion because I'm going to harken back to a conversation Candace Owens had with Terrell Farnsworth. But I want you to hear this first. Other agent of the SBA.
Yes, we were able to collect video. TPUSA had a videographer, Visual Impulse.
In case you thought I was lying about the accent, a videographer. I just thought just proved that I was right. He does not sound like he's from Utah.
Who was taking coverage of the event, and they provided video to us that they had captured on September 10th of 2025.
And do you know who or how that video was collected from Visual Impulse?
Yeah, Mr. Farnsworth originally provided, I believe, a flash drive to Lieutenant O'Brien with one of the local agencies. And a short time after that, on September 10th, he provided downloadable versions, electronic versions to Agent Mortensen. And an 1102 was collected from him on May 6th of 2026.
So 1102 was prepared by someone with Visual Impulse?
Yes, Terrell Farnsworth was the individual that prepared it. And in preparation for this, I spoke to him personally regarding that statement.
And do you know what his association is with Visual Impulse?
I believe he's the owner-operator or the director of the company.
And then who collected that 1102 statement from Mr. Farnsworth?
It was Agent Mortensen who collected it.
Okay, and you know that because Agent Mortensen told you, or
He provided it to me. And then, as I mentioned, I subsequently spoke to Terrell Farnsworth personally regarding his statement.
do you have a chance to look at Mr. Farnsworth's 1102 statement?
I have, yes.
And again, does that statement include an advisory that any statement that he provided would be used at preliminary hearing in lieu of his live testimony?
Yes,
Did it also include a warning that a false statement would potentially be punished by a Class A misdemeanor?
it did, yes.
Okay, so to clarify, Terrell Farnsworth, we now know what date he turned over the footage. It was on September 10th. We know the manner in which he turned it over. Turned it over two different ways, according to this guy. One way he turned it over was via a flash drive. That's a piece of hardware. And so I think most of us know what a flash drive is. You plug it into your computer and it has all the files in there and you just access it. That's one way this guy says he turned it over. The second way that he says he turned it over was via Google Drive. Was via Google Drive. So that is how they say he turned it over. Flash drive and Google Drive. But that's not what we were told initially, if you recall, are in the possession of the FBI. That's what Andrew Colvett told us. But that's not what the officer said at all. The officer said he never got the SD card, or he didn't mention getting SD card. Instead, he said he got a flash drive and a downloadable version from Google Drive. It's interesting, the downloadable version from Google Drive, and I can show you that that is what Terrell said. Terrell apparently got over his fear of being hacked by Google, because you remember he told Candace Owens he would not share the drive with her. She just wanted to see, did a shot come out the back? And he said, oh, I'm not going to share that with you. I'm afraid I'll get hacked by Google. I'm afraid I'll get hacked by Google. Well, that conversation took place shortly before September 19th. As Jillian Faith says here, great to see he got over his fear that Google was going to hack him. Apparently this link no longer works. People have tried it. I think it's diabolical, guys, if I'm being honest. On September 10, I was president of the Turning Point USA Valley Utah Valley University event. Myself and my team were there to provide audio equipment, setup, management, and support, as we had done for Mr. Charlie Kirk for years. I'll tell you right now, that first sentence, those first two sentences, that evidence Terrell Farnsworth did not draft this. They said it was drafted by him. This was not drafted by him. He would know that's not how you stylize Turning Point USA. It would either be, he would have either put TPUSA in all caps or Turning Point USA with USA in all caps. He would not have put capital U, lowercase a, s, lowercase a. That's not how he would have stylized it. And I like to believe he wouldn't have started the sentence with myself. That's not proper English.
Check this out.
But maybe I'm giving him too much credit, and nor do I think you would have called him Mr. Charlie. Our camera setup consisted of 3 angles: an angle directly on Charlie, an angle on the individual asking questions, and a wider angle behind Charlie that showed the audience and crowd reaction. It's that wider angle behind Charlie that Candace Owens was talking. That day, September 10th, I provided SBI with 4 videos through a Google Drive link. And then he gives the link. These videos labeled whatever, duration 2620, whatever that is, duration 2308, whatever that is, duration 2648, and hyperdeck, whatever that is, duration 2611, were taken by me and my team at the event on September 10th, 2025. What's interesting about that is that's 4 different videos.
Right.
Now he said he only had 3 angles. If you read, he says he has 3 angles. Now maybe one of these is some sort of like compilation that has all 3 videos on the same screen. I don't know. But he
Can't
said
be.
those 4 files, they last between 26 and 23 and 26 minutes.
Right.
I don't know why that one is shorter, but whatever. Were taken by me and my team at the UVU event on September 10, 2025. These videos, as they were provided to SBI, are a true and correct representation of what took place. That's just foundational language that has to be in there. Regarding the clip labeled as whatever, I've reviewed, and from what I can see, it is a true and correct representation of a portion of the larger files I previously sent to the SBI. So it sounds like the SBI clipped it and sent it back to him for additional authentication. That's what it looks like to me going on in here. I don't know why 4 files instead of 3 when he says they only have 3 cameras. One of them may be some sort of super cut that has all 3 on the same screen. I don't know. And then it sounds like this footage of crowded behind Charlie. It's base stamp number 15. Sounds like it's a clip of what he provided. But regardless, he says he provided it by Google Drive. He doesn't mention a flash drive. And he sure doesn't mention providing SD card. I think that's a key fact. I think it's a very key fact. Because what's at question here is whether these are precisely accurate representations of what was on those SD cards. You know, once you take the SD card and you load it into a computer,
You can edit it anyway. Mm-hmm.
in theory, edit it. And some editing is really slick. Really slick. You might not catch it, right? You might not,
No.
really sophisticated people just viewing it might not see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would ask, where are the SD cards? And can we look at them? Is there a way to analyze them to see if they've been altered? Are they the original footage? I don't even know if that's possible. I mean, it's been 10 months.
Right.
What could happen to those SD cards in 10 months? What could happen to the footage? And why was one of them 3 minutes shorter than the other?
Mm.
And was it the full frame?
Mm.
And did we see everything going on behind the table afterwards? I just got a lot of questions. I've got a whole lot of questions when it comes to this stuff. Sounds like it's not. Sounds like it's not his handwriting. It sounds like it's not his hand. Guess who crashed out? I'm not sure who is advising TPUSA at this point. I'm not sure at all who is advising TPUSA at this point. And I can see Andrew's embarrassed by his crash outs because he's now posted a bunch of stuff back to back to back in order to push them down. But I just want to go through some of these, some of this crash out over the last day or so. Let's see here. Let me scroll back to late last night. I think is when it all started. Wow. Okay, here we go. So last night we covered on this program that that there was an article coming out from a National Contagion Research Institute had provided some data showing that Candace Owens is radicalizing people. And Andrew Colbert, 11 hours ago, reposted a thread in which somebody is basically bad-mouthing Candace for this. And he goes through, and I don't know, must have screwed it up because he kind of reposted it there. Then he starts really going after her. Let me show you. Here we go. So Candace posts, "One more fight, Charlie. I don't fear these demons. We will win." I probably should have gone without a response from TPUSA's chief PR person, but he could not help himself. Candace, you and Charlie were not friends. I love it. This is going to be a center point of this all day. He's fighting with her all day over, Charlie didn't like you. I had these same fights in 5th grade. Billy doesn't like you. He's not your friend. You and Charlie were not friends. He managed you. That's why I did the opening I did. He's accusing Charlie of being a liar and a hypocrite all day long. He goes into this. He kept things light and polite so you wouldn't turn on the order. Show me any proof of genuine friendship from the last 12 months of his life, from the last 18 months, from the last 24 months, not some 2018 text, something recent. You gave him anxiety. Another Candace is the you here, and Charlie's the him. Candace gave Charlie anxiety whenever you, Candace, called or texted, asking, demanding to speak at our events. He made me or Justin deal with you and George. This is why when you tried to hire me in February 2024 for PR, I agreed to go along with it against my better judgment because Charlie asked me to keep you close and protect the org from you. The publicist I tried to hire to run point, prayed about it, felt the Lord from knows, but ultimately fine. This is your central foundational lie. You were not his friend. You were not his defender. You were his tormentor. And now you torment his wife and the organization he built. Candace, you are a fraud. And then he goes on to quote Blake Neff here, as Charlie once told us, Candace is very easy to understand once you realize all she cares about is money. Well, Candace did not take that line down. Did not take that line down at all. And she had a response. She had a response. In fact, many responses. Here is one such response. Charlie had so much anxiety about our friendship that he was the one updating me on the farce of October 7th. Really weird to continually initiate convos with someone you're scared of. And this is Charlie Kirk texting her about the IDF knowing of the plan to kidnap before the event took place and her writing back unreal. That was January of 2024, certainly within the last, I don't know, what do you say, 24 months? Yeah, right outside the last 24 months. And they just went back and forth all day. They just kept going back and forth all day. It was absolutely ludicrous. Andrew reposted somebody who said this, Candace and Charlie were not friends. I spent the last year getting to know the leadership at TPUSA. Oh, the last year you said. You must know everything. I bet you're fun at parties. I spent hours in conversation with Charlie Kirk's closest friends. Oh, that's not very comforting, sir. And without fail, every single one of them tells me essentially the same thing. Candace and Charlie weren't really friends. Well, we don't doubt that they'd say that. The question is, were they? And what you're saying here is you have no information relevant to that inquiry. So that's more here. Here's Candace saying, Andrew has recently been seeding the narrative that Charlie distanced himself from me. Here's Andrew in his own words on a text chain with me and Charlie in May of 2024, denying that charge. Charlie had my back 100%. His donors were the ones pressuring him. He always expressed to me that he thought the Daily Wire was behind the sudden push. Here is Andrew Colbert texting Candace, May 3rd, 2024. We're not distancing ourselves from you. This is Andrew Colbert to Candace Owens. We are not distancing ourselves from you. We have a bunch of donors that want us to, but we deal with them one-on-one. And this website is a resource explaining things. Most of them are fine once we sit and talk with them. I wonder if it's Ben personally or Daily Wire pretty dirty. And so Andrew here is tossing the diminutive leader of the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, right under the bus and backing over the little short bus right over. I'm assuming it's a short bus, midget horse short bus. But he's backing the bus right over. And then Charlie says, Candace, we are with you 100%. Candace, we are with you 100%. Then Andrew chimes in and says, yep, sounds exactly what someone would say to a person they're trying to manage. Sir, you just called Charlie Kirk a liar and a hypocrite. You just took his dead corpse and wiped your hind end with it after an especially steamy and greasy one. That's what you just did, Andrew. Is that the look TPUSA is going for? Scoring pot shots against podcasters? By desecrating the image of your founder? Oh, Charlie, trying to manage you. He's a liar. Yeah. These are the two options Andrew had. He backed himself into a really strange form. And he didn't have to. He could have ignored it.
He worse than Blake.
Yes,
Crash out.
He's a liar. Like me, Andrew Colbert, an admitted liar. Charlie also is a liar. And I'm going to desecrate his corpse right here in public on X for all to see. This particular tweet has already been viewed 261,000 times. That's a 250,000. I've seen Andrew Colbert call Charlie Kirk a bald-faced liar. Bald-faced liar, whatever you want to call it. Bald-faced. That's option A. The option he's chosen. Kick Charlie while he's dead. Option B would be to say, I'm lying now. I, Andrew Colbert, am lying now. You and Charlie were. I've been mistaken. I wasn't telling the truth. He chose not to do that. He chose instead to run over his dead. His alleged. I don't think that. If anyone wasn't the friend, I think it's Andrew. I think Andrew was the handler. Why did he open? I think Andrew was inserted into TPUSA. And Charlie was an unwitting asset. Andrew was managing him. Andrew was planting things in his head. He had control of his Twitter. Like, how much better of a handler can you be than to actually be able to put words in the mouth of your unwitting asset? Get on Charlie Kirk 11 Twitter feed and say whatever you want. Like, that's handler gold. Most handlers working with unwitting assets don't have that access. But Andrew, he wasn't fine just desecrating Charlie's corpse on that one occasion. He actually went a step further. Here is Candace saying, I'm glad you finally came to the surface, rat. Your previous employees told me it was you and Erica that were teaming up with the YouTubers to put out that utterly fake narrative that Charlie and I were not friends and he had anxiety. You also worked together to lie about his pull towards Catholicism and put out the deranged narrative that I secretly loved Charlie and hadn't spoken to him since 2019, despite me touring with him through May of 2024. Your lies are easy to debunk. I simply could have not have demanded to speak at any TPUSA event because we had a speaker contract that rolled over annually, Andrew. This means I never had to beg or even request to speak at any event because I was contractually obligated to speak at every major TPUSA event every year. It's also utterly ludicrous to suggest he didn't pick up my calls because I never call. Any person who knows me knows I never pick up or call people. But you lie so much. I'm going to accept this easy challenge to prove you're a liar by releasing every single time I dial Charlie's number for the last 3 years. As soon as I'm back on air, that will be released. Man, when she gets back, it's going to be bad on these people. And I know they're anticipating, which is why they're freaking out right now. They're trying to seed and poison the well before she gets back. Because when she gets back, it's going to be bad. And they know it. I promised it, and they know it. Grateful telephone logs go back 5 years. I simply prefer to text. And I thank God for that, as I've been able to debunk your lies about Charlie because of that habit. Like I said, your number one problem is you are dumb. Regarding your narrative that we never spoke, I literally just released Charlie and I discussing your partner Johnny Moore's demonic attack against Crisis King, a convo initiated by Charlie. Those messages are dated to May 2025. But hey, let's hear Charlie's own words regarding our friendship, shall we? Here, Charlie captured August 21, 2025, 3 weeks before he died. But what did he say? What did he say 3 weeks later? Candace Owens, she's a great friend. You know, look, I don't agree with everything Candace says, but you know what I don't do? I don't stop being friends with people just because people morally blackmail me. I don't do that. You shouldn't either. Honestly, I traveled the country with Candace. I went to her wedding. I saw her meet her husband. I went to Israel with Candace, which is a fun story I'll tell you at some point. I think the world of Candace. She's a great mother. She certainly has very, very fun opinions at times. And she's a great talent. She says a lot of stuff that sometimes I don't agree with, but that's what makes our relationship and our friendship in relationship with Candace Owens. Well, Andrew could have chosen to ignore that. But no, he has to dig Charlie up and set him on fire. And not content with wiping his hind quarters with Charlie's dying dead corpse, he has to dig him up and set him on fire. I was actually with Charlie a bit. We traveled that entire week together. As Charlie says here, he would never allow someone else to morally blackmail him into condemning anyone. I love that about him. All this clip demonstrates is that he was a gentleman who believed a personal relationship with someone put that person off limits. He was very forceful on that point, but you might have also noticed he's scrambling to defend your very fun opinions that he didn't agree with. And now we're going to put words in a dead man's mouth. And when he got off stage, the first thing he asked me as we walked to the car was how I felt he handled the Candace answer. He said he knew you'd eventually see the clip, and wanted my opinion on how it came across. I told him he handled it well. And he said the Candace questions are only going to continue to get crazier. Continue the crazier your commentary got. We have to be ready for them. He was walking on eggshells, Candace, because he knew he was one clip away from you turning on him in the org. Hope that helps. But it wasn't just Charlie lying by text.
5.
I was waiting to see what happened. It's usually Blake who's crashing out.
Directly to Candace. He wasn't just lying to one person on the other end of the text thread. He was lying to thousands of people at an event who paid or showed up to see him. To lie to them too. And the world. If you believe Andrew, Charlie was a hypocrite. Charlie was not worth following. Charlie had no spine, no backbone, and he had no honor, no integrity, no nobility. There was nothing good about Charlie's character, according to Andrew Paul. Because anyone who lied that frequently, that often, and frankly lie to that many people is a lousy individual. It's a terrible human being. I don't believe that about Charlie. I didn't agree with him on every political issue. I stated that early and often when I started covering this case, that his foreign policy was not my cup of tea, but that over the past 12 to 18 months, he started coming around a little bit to see things more my way when it comes to American interventionism. But what I never thought Charlie was a diabolical being. I never thought he was a liar. I never thought he was a habitual liar. And I never thought he lied with ease. I might have thought he was mistaken, but I thought he was decent, good. Andrew Colvett did not think that. At least not what he's saying now. Rather, Andrew Colvett thought Charlie Kirk was a monster. Someone who would lie at will just to placate people. Because he didn't have the spine, the backbone to handle the fallout. That's a coward. That's what we call a coward. You are taking the coward's way out here, Andrew. You're taking the coward's way out. What you've done today has done more to demean and degrade Charlie's memory than anything Candace Owens has ever said about Erica Kirk. Erica has lied. Document. How many college degrees does she have? How many pageants did she enter? How many people did she date? When did she date them? These are all documented facts that she lied about, at least best I can tell. And I've never been corrected on that record. But what you're doing, Andrew, is not documented. You are putting words into a dead man's mouth to call him a liar. You're interpreting the texts that Candace is putting forward. You're not providing evidence that Charlie felt any of these things. It's a funny thing about what you and TPUSA do. This seems to be a habit. We don't have any documented evidence that Charlie ever wanted Erica to take over. All we got was some clipped up 1 3/4 second divided into 2 brief clips out of context, no idea what he was talking about. And from that, you tell us that, of course, Charlie wanted Erica to take over. Who could doubt it? We released the video. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. We don't know what that video was talking about. Then you tell us, well, we can back it up because he told all of us personally and individually. Well, he never wrote it down. He never put it in a text. He never put it in any of his journals. He never talked about it openly on any stage. And in fact, it went against absolutely everything he said on every single stage he had ever been on when he talked about if a woman can afford it, she should be home with her kids. That's the most important thing a woman can do. Everyone except Erica, you see. Charlie wanted Erica in the office. She wanted her at the founders ball. Where were her kids? She wanted her on speaking tours. Where were the kids? She wanted her putting on her pumps, playing boss babe. That's what he really wanted. That's what you're telling me. And all we have are the words of Charlie Kirk himself, fly in the face of all of that. It's the exact same thing here, Andrew. All we have are the words of Charlie Kirk and you, who told Candace continually for years that Charlie was, in fact, her friend, her deeply, kept her updated on things, was not stabbing her behind her back, was communicating with her, was confirming their friendship on a regular basis, was even speculating out there. I think it was the Daily Wire who might be doing this. That diabolical, dastardly Ben Shapiro. Perhaps he's the one who should be going. Not sure how I'd feel if I was Ben Shapiro. This is the way you've chosen to treat Charlie's memory. Every time something comes up that seems to fly in the face of everything Charlie actually said, you got.
If you're in your 30s, this one's for you.
Guys have some super secret conversation that took place behind the scenes that went against all of them. And what it means is that Charlie was not an honorable man. He was not an honest man. He was a diabolical, maniacal liar, a habitual, pathological. He lied about what he wanted women to do in the workforce. He lied about his relationship with Candace. What else did he lie about, Andrew? Can we just get it all out now? Can we go ahead and completely desecrate his corpse? Can we go ahead and completely roll over it with a steamroller while we're going ahead and doing all the rest of this? What you're doing is gross. And I don't know if you know you're doing it or if you really hated the man. Because you were assigned to him as a handler and you had no respect for him whatsoever. Because that's what you're acting like. You're acting like you were the one who was making all the calls. And I'm telling you right now, this is horrific. This is horrific. What you're telling all of the TPUSA followers is, you do. Charlie Kirk is not who you thought. You guys who used to tune in every day for the Charlie Kirk show, lying to your face. You were following a liar. All of you who booked hotel rooms and traveled to cities to see Charlie Kirk speak live, waste of time. He was just a two-bit liar. All you people who read his 16 best-selling books, he didn't need. He's just a pathological liar, according to him. I'm not sure you're doing what you think you're doing. So I don't know where you learned your PR skills, but go back and get your money back. You've been let down. Someone failed you in life. Someone failed you miserably. And you should be ashamed. But I don't think you had any shame. So I expect this terrible behavior to continue. I can't wait to find out next from Andrew where else Charlie told habitual lies. Just tune into his X feed and find out, I suppose. I'm sure it's fun. All right. That's my message to you. If you'd like the program, please, by all means, feel free to hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, you think you're a subscriber, go ahead and double check. Some people are being unsubscribed. I made that comment one day. We had like 2,300 subscriptions that particular day because everybody went to check and they've been unsubscribed. So by all means, go click the subscribe button. Like,
See if you're subscribed. It happens, you guys. I'm telling you. He's about to get ready to read his comments. Thank you, Baron, for But we greatly appreciate it for sure. We hate to have to cut Cuff Boys short. I do apologize, honey. It was just, oh, um, oh, I probably should have sped him up. Let me see. Let me see something real quick. He got his whole. He kind of went through the whole thing, and Baron just pulled a few highlights, as you can see. Hold on. He got his whole questioning cross, and then the guy with the huff whatever, he caught his. Um, so that one was pretty good. I mean, it was just more so of, like just meat and potatoes, honey. Meat and potatoes is all I need right now. I just need the meat and the potatoes. I can't, because I already know that I'm pressed for time, obviously. Um, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Coming up on my 2 hour mark here, as we can see. I did learn how to just let it play. You know, if I get distracted or something like that, or if I gotta go and see about this dude in the back, to just let it play. And I just it was the last time I was live that I had that moment where I was like, "You should just let it play instead of keeping it on pause and just let it play." Um, but I'm gonna get on up out of here. So happy Monday, happy Tuesday. You know how this goes. Um, but in the meantime, y'all, in between time, love you. Bye.